Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us at the MarketSite studio in Times Square, New York City, we have Spiro Yulis. He's the founder and CEO of SkyArx, a digital agency serving the healthcare industry. We're going to discuss emerging technology trends within healthcare and, of course, how ChatGPT, among other newer technologies, how it's impacting the space. Spiro, it's great to have you with us. Welcome to Trade Talks.
Thank you, Jill, for having me.
What are some of the emerging technology trends that are impacting healthcare today?
Well, I think it's a very exciting time. When we think about the combination of telemedicine, as well as AI, as well as wearables, augmented reality, virtual reality, 3D printing, and the list goes on. We're seeing very innovative ways of combining these technologies.
Right, and of course we've been talking about artificial intelligence. ChatGPT really is the buzzword for 2023. What is the immediate impact to healthcare?
Sure, so ChatGPT, right, I think is that first introduction, and you've had some excellent guests that you've already talked to about generative AI and the power of generative AI. We're finally reaching that inflection point where the general public has, access to different versions of these technologies. That's opening up, innovation within healthcare. So thinking about how do we take large sets of data and make them more accessible? How do we improve patient outcomes? And for some of the work that we do, thinking about how can we better train and empower physicians to help patients?
Let's look at another one of the trends that you had mentioned earlier. Many large tech companies like Meta, Alphabet, Apple, of course, they are doing a lot of work with virtual reality and augmented reality. What do you think the impact could be on the healthcare sector should they employ those?
This is where we really get where it really gets exciting. When we think about immersive technologies, just the general understanding first of augmented reality and virtual reality, right? And the definition of even, mixed reality. Still the semantics are there to be defined, right? VR, you're wearing a headset. All of your visual inputs are being created by that device. Augmented reality, most likely the first access, the first exposure to an immersive technology that global citizens will have thanks to the little computers we carry around in our hands, right? Smartphones, being able to turn on camera, turn on geolocation, and see 3D information. We're moving from interfacing with technology in a 2D way to a 3D way. So the link to healthcare is, very exciting.
I remember the iPad first came out, and my first thought was, this is going to be amazing when it comes to looking at x-rays and MRIs and sonograms, and just look how far we have come since then. So when you think a little bit farther out, what combinations of these technologies do you expect to see?
Well, we're going to see a lot of them combined in very unique ways. As I was saying, the belief of the power of 3D, right? We've come out of the pandemic already understanding the power of video and video needing to be delivered on, any screen at any time. But how do we combine video with AI with 3D? So some of the generative algorithms built into AI are tailoring what we're watching by way of video, and then taking it that next step further of having the host or the presenter or your physician standing there in the room with you in a holographic form.
Yeah, well, it's interesting, and you had mentioned before you've seen some other segments that we've done on generative AI across multiple sectors and industries, and the one question I always ask, particularly legal tech is where it resonates with me. Yes. A lot of this takes out that grunt work that you have to do. Isn't that part of some of the formal training that doctors, that lawyers, that educators have to deal with?
Right. The human component, I don't believe is going away anytime soon. I think these are technologies that will continue to aid decision making, that will aid in the training of physicians, as well as multiple other parts of the healthcare segment. And finding out those, right opportunities is what we will see over the course of the next 5 to 10 years.
When we think about our healthcare system more holistically, and we know that it's somewhat broken here in the U.S., do you think these technologies can get it to a point where we can improve on the entire system?
There's an opportunity if we look at the public health component to how generative AI is applied. I mean, first and foremost, personal health information, protecting the patient before these large data sets are fed into oftentimes third-party systems is going to be essential for any health system, let alone once we involve government and we think about a national model, right, of how this could be applied.
All right, appreciate the insight, Spiro. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks.
Thanks for having me.
And thanks for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq.